5?
5.
Right, okay. You keep on checking your phone
like
you want to be, like you want to.
My first time.
My first time.
Do you want me to go
Out
harder?
of 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Marvel, and I'm a DC. 10 years later.
Oh.
Are you guys familiar with Just Some Random Guy?
No.
Really? You?
I've heard the name, but no.
Really? That is crazy. I almost want to find it for you guys, the original.
About PC and Apple?
It was very similar, just the same way. So 10 years ago, this guy started his first video with a Superman toy and a Spider-Man toy. Okay. This was when Superman Returns came in, and Spider-Man 3 came in.
Ooh.
And it was one of the best kind of comparisons. Like Spider-Man was like, yeah, well, you know, Marvel, we have our kind of stuff over here, and hey, I got a new black suit, and I'm dark, and I'm brooding. And Superman was like, well, I'm brooding and dark too, and yeah, hey, guess what? I have a child. Like that. Yeah. It was really funny. It launched a whole YouTube kind of career for this dude, and he actually had crossover shows and some really good stuff. It's been 10 years. He hasn't been active as much, but after over a year, he finally uploaded another video, and I guess this is his 10-year anniversary, so let's see what it's all about.
Hi, I'm a Marvel.
And I'm a DC.
Wow, 10 years and we're still going?
I know, right? Superhero movies are still as popular as ever.
Oh, right. No, that too. I'm just surprised we're still parodying those Mac commercials.
2007. We set some pretty lofty goals for ourselves back then, didn't we?
Iron Man,
Yeah.
and Ant-Man movies, Captain America and Thor movies, 3 more of my movies, an Avengers movie, Wolverine and Magneto spin-offs from X-Men. We just asked a few writers to think about the possibility of maybe what it might take to theoretically make a Justice League movie.
It just came out!
Possibly more, perhaps.
Whoa!
Nailed it.
What are you guys thinking of doing now?
Well, actually, we are doing new Shazam and Batgirl and Aquaman movies. But that's not all. We've also got Wonder Woman 2, now with 100% less Brett Ratner. The Green Lantern Corps, based on the best parts of the last movie.
Nice.
Plus more Batman movies like Gotham City Sirens, a Joker and Harley movie, The Batman. Plus...
Kind of Elseworlds with taxi drivers. Yeah.
movie.
Seems a little confusing.
Yeah.
It's a little...
But who cares? Everybody loves Batman. Except maybe Ben Affleck. But then there's Sandman, Flashpoint, Gold, and Blue Beetle, and all the other projects that are in limbo until Kevin Feige is ready to take our $1,000,000,000 job offer.
Exactly.
Wait, what? So, what are you
Well, we've got Black Panther, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Captain Marvel.
Right.
And then over at Fox, there's the New Mutants, Gambit, X-Men Dark Phoenix, Deadpool 2 and 3, leading into an X-Force trilogy, unless, of course, you know, Disney just decides to buy Fox outright, you know. That's not a scary monopoly at all. And there's Sony, who's making their own Spider-Man movies, but just without the Spider-Man. How does that work? You know, we just let them do it because when a studio is this far gone, it's really important for them to feel productive, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot like caring for a relative with dementia, you know?
Yeah.
I made a Venom movie today. Oh, that's great, Sony. Here, have some Jell-O. You're a real movie studio.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's the Infinity War movies, 2 more of my movies, a 3rd Guardians movie, along with who knows how many movies in the next phase of the MCU after we wrap up our historic 22-film saga.
You know, I might get a sequel for my next movie.
Wait, you don't even have a sequel confirmed yet? I mean, are you even in the Justice League movie?
Well, I'm not supposed to say anything, but...
Clark, how is it you're worse at keeping secrets than Rotten Tomatoes? What part of low profile don't you understand?
Oh, never mind. Don't anyone mind me. Pay no attention to me. I'm not even here. Not even here. Excuse me, I just need to squeeze past you here.
Hey, Bets, you ever think about where we were 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Why? Can you take me back there? Oh, I think another box
Right.
over here. Please.
Or as we call them, Martha boxes, right, buddy?
Dear God.
I'll just let myself out.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Martha boxes. Ouch.
Wow. That was pretty good. Wow. So 10 years later, and not much has changed.
It's funny because some of the points he made are actually quite valid.
Yep.
Whether it be good, bad, or very sad, he's making some really good points.
Oh, shit. I like it. Spider-Man was like, wait, you don't even have a sequel yet?
Yeah. That's harsh because, like, back in the day, late 80s, 90s, whatever, if a movie did well in, say, the mid to late 80s, like, we need a sequel immediately.
Yeah.
So you had, like, a two-year turnover, and then a sequel came out. Now it's like, we need a sequel immediately. Okay, we need to put you on the docket for a 7-year plan. And then once it's done, actually, we don't like that edit. Could you do this or add this to it? By the time it comes out, the sequel is what, 12 years later? And people either A, don't care, or there are 2 other movies that come out.
Yeah. 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 Well, would you say, Callie, would you say now 10 years later, since Superman Returns and Spider-Man 3, things have gotten better? I haven't realized. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years, over 10 years. Have you? Would you say things have gotten better for superhero movies?
Or Marvel, yes.
Yes, that's true.
Marvel?
That's true.
Marvel.
That's true.
I don't know, for
Chicken
some
wings.
reason, like, unfortunately, when Christopher Nolan's
Yeah,
Batman
left.
series
Yeah.
left, like, that kind of ended for me. Like, okay, that was Batman. And then when they reintroduced Affleck's Batman so quickly, I was like, wait, no.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to, like, grieve.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I'm 100% with you on that because I think they really, if anything, I think they should have somewhat retired, at least for a year or 2 years, kept Batman out of the picture or so people would actually want
Yeah.
to see Batman. The thing about Nolan's Batman was the fact that there was an 8-year gap, 8 years of no Batman films. So people had time to be like, "Yo, we will take almost anything here." But it wasn't even just that. It was just people saw it and they were like, they finally got it right, basically. Opposed to with Batfleck coming in was basically like this. It kind of felt very forced and rushed, and basically was like,
Here's your Batman ticket. There it is.
but it wasn't even that. It was just like, here's your Batman. You have to like it just because you like this other Batman so much. So like she's saying, there's a big difference going from George Clooney, Batman and Robin, to Batman Begins, and you're like, okay, oh fuck, it's not as bad as Batman Begins. Going from The Dark Knight Rises up here to, okay, here's a new Batman, Ben Affleck, like that. And on top of that, BVS. It's kind of like, one of the comparisons I tend to make, and not a lot of people will like this, but Snyder's Batman to me and Superman sometimes reminds me of the Trump administration in the sense
Just for being clumped together, that's a foul.
listen, in the sense that the Trump administration tends to try to undo anything that the Obama administration set up. And so sometimes I felt that Snyder's Batman or Superman was trying to be so edgy that they forgot the principles of why people liked what came before it. So that's all. That's
You're gonna
for
have
me.
to find a quicker way of getting to that point when you're explaining it, because some people can be really pissed off.
Trump! Like that, yeah. I'm just saying, no, it's just the look and the feel. Like, I understand that.
And there's no way Kylo Ren could have his lightsaber over his arm without cutting it off. Just saying.
Okay, yeah, he's getting off topic here.
Yeah, it's just something I saw.
But
Makes sense.
all that being said, after 10 years, I do feel like DC is somewhat going in some direction. I mean, they're still kind of spinning the wheels. They're trying to put stuff out, but something's not clicking. But I don't want to say at least they're putting something out. I don't know, because
And from the time they started the DCEU up till now, some of the heads have changed.
yeah,
So it's like, if it's a issue, where is it actually stemming from? Where does it need to be tweaked and or fixed? Because if main components keep changing, there's no way to actually pinpoint where the actual issue is, because they're not all tied together.
I agree with that.
If it's it's easy for someone to say, "Oh, it's Zack Snyder's fault," da da da. Well, actually, no. He's just directing the film.
Yeah.
But it's the producer and the backers to decide. Okay, this is what we want. A, 2, we like this edit, so that's what we're going to put out. As opposed to we have no more time left, so just put out whatever's available.
I agree.
So
with that.
I will say, and it's not to say that I'm trying to. Say something for Zack Snyder in particular. For all directors have their vision of a movie, but what initially comes out, more times than not, ends up being what the studio wants, as opposed to what they set out to do. So sometimes it's actually not the director's fault, which is something we as fans forget.
Right.
And I feel bad for all directors, because that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure to get everyone to do their job, to get your image out, and when it doesn't work, it's your fault.
Zack Snyder has often said that he's like, I'm not Christopher Nolan. I can't just tell WB to do something and they listen.
And he's got a point, because Christopher Nolan does have that kind of pull because of his background and working with them so closely. And do you think it was a good idea to pull Christopher Nolan off of Zack Snyder projects, or it's better to keep him on, as opposed to Jeff Johns or anyone else taking part of? Do you think it's better to keep Christopher Nolan and someone like him on DC projects, or get a completely new and fresh set of eyes onto DCEU projects? What is your
I believe the best thing for what Nolan was trying to do, Nolan was good at making a realistic Batman in a self-contained Batman universe, because it felt real, it felt tangible, and you could really be like, damn, somebody finally got what it means to be the Batman.
Right.
Whereas Zack Snyder's world, if you just look at any of his work, Sucker Punch, 300, Watchmen, any of that stuff, there is a lore of fantasy. When Zack Snyder was first tapped to do Man of Steel, I was like, dude, this guy's perfect, because he's such a visionary type of director that I thought I was going to see something amazing. Like, I thought I was going to see a cartoon kind of brought to life, but it was going to be fast-paced. And I was like, if anybody could really keep up with the Avengers, it's this guy.
Right.
But the thing with Zack Snyder is a lot of his stuff is, what's lacking is, it's just slow. It's a lot of moments,
it's too literal.
Yeah, it's a lot of symbolic shots, but it doesn't have like that grounding you need, like you see in Whedon's Avengers. Like, oh man, they made a little joke here or there, but it makes them relatable. And I think Zack Snyder went a little too overboard with this God worshipping of Superman and his idea of what Batman should be, that I think he lost a lot of the general audience in that sense. And you can see that in Sucker Punch as well. I liked the story, but I also felt like it disconnected a lot, and the best parts about Sucker Punch were the visuals, and it looked like a game after a while, and you're like, damn, you kind of forgot what the original story was about. So I feel it's weird, because especially after Justice League, I just feel like Zack Snyder is too much of one thing
and not enough of
another, but then Joss Whedon is too much of something else
and not enough of
so there's nothing, like, we need like the in-between. I want to see Zack Snyder visuals, but a more relatable script, and it would be perfect. But I don't know.
If Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon actually worked on a project together? Not one person directs and the other person does reshoots, but they actually work together. Now, not necessarily those two people, but that kind of chemistry.
I would say,
where you have someone that's a bit light for things and someone's really good at visuals, working together as a team to do a film.
I would say,
like Star Wars.
Unfortunately, if we could go back in time, I'd rather Zack Snyder. Yeah, Zack Snyder, and that's why Batman. And he's like, why can you take me back to that time? That was a better time for Batman back then. Yes. I would say if we could go, because I think right now Zack Snyder's name has just, anytime you put him on a project now with the DC, it's not going to work anymore.
It's too mixed. Believe it or not, Zack Snyder has a very huge core presence and following, which is great. But then you also have people that are like, oh, if he does, it's going to be too dark, or it's going to have too many muted colors, or da da da.
No, I think he does. No, I think he has. I mean, even what's his name? Fucking Bryan Singer. We tend to forget, but Bryan Singer really fucked up Superman as well. Like with muted, he had a purple fucking cape and shit half the time.
Having Superman and your baby's mama was just not cool. I was like, really? That out of all the stories to tell, that's what you came up with? From a longtime fan of Superman and comic books in general, I have to say, as much as I enjoyed Superman Returns, there are parts of it that's like, why? Why did this get approved? And two, why did you think that was pertinent for the story? It was just bad. Having someone, all jokes aside, I think that studios in general should have a petition for the top 3 stories that fans would really like to see made into film, and then make one of the top 3. And the reason I say it because fans do have a really good idea and say of good storytelling, what they'd like to see since they're the ones paying to see the movie. And also it gives studios a chance to say, hey, look, okay, we've done things this way so far. What could we do this time to, think outside the box? Well, as opposed to just taking simple ideas, take a story.
At this moment in time, I do feel like they are headed in the right direction with having Jeff Johns around. I mean, he was involved in Green Lantern. But,
I know. Dude, that was awesome. But he wasn't in charge for Green Lantern.
So,
comic book, yes, which was fantastic. Right. Great job, by the way, Jeff Johns. Sorry.
But he produced the Green Lantern movie, which was interesting. But all that being said, series I hope I hope this is enough. I hope Justice League is in some form or fashion the Batman and Robin of this era that gets them a chance to just slow things down and really try to develop solo movies. Try to rebuild the brand back up. Maybe focus everything around Wonder Woman because that's the only hit they have right now.
That's something I actually don't want them to do. You know why? Because then they're going the same direction that they've been going with Batman movies, where it's so heavy on one side, you forget about the entire universe that you have full of fantastic characters that you could have really good, rich storytelling to get fans into.
But unfortunately, that's exactly what we had with Justice League. You have a lot of characters.
But that's because you're considering all the characters at once.
Right, you're trying to throw in a lot of stuff.
Just one.
Yeah.
Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg, anything other than having just a team movie, just to say you have a team movie, which I enjoyed. By the way, hence the t-shirt. But on the opposite side, do something with standalone characters, build those characters up. If they tie together, that's fine, but don't make that be your main focus. All right. Main focus be the story.
Red Dreaded Nation, stand up, speak up. Good conversation,
He's
Callie.
Tired.
No, I'm good.
From this conversation.
No, I just got turned on a little watching Callie lick the top. Stand up, speak up. Yeah, you were in your comic world for a second, but you don't want to lick it. No.
Get back to her.
No,
Thanks for watching.
She was deep-throating the bottle earlier. She was sneaking, pouring us alcohol, and then she was like,
pouring alcohol.
I saw that snake.
It was just one swirl.
That's all it took.
Around the rim.
Yep. And on that note, please check out Red Dreaded Patreon as well as the World of Callie's Patreon, and we will see you on the next video.
Bye bye, guys. Peace. Thanks, just some random guy.
In random comments.